Okay, so what problem are we going to solve today? Top coating your finished furniture. It can be such a frustrating part of the process, and I'm here today to show you a couple of tips, a couple of products, and my technique. So let's go on over to my workbench, take a look at some of these things, and then we'll get to the demo. Let's just go ahead and get right into it, the top coats. Now let me just start off though by saying this. I only use water-based top coats. I no longer and haven't used in years an oil-based top coat. And I know what you're going to say, but wait a minute, what about over your oil-based stain tops? When I use an oil-based stain, I use a water-based top coat. And you can 100% use that combination. You will have to yield a longer dry time for your oil-based product. Typically, it's 72 hours, but you do not have to use oil over oil. You can use water over oil. All right, with that being said, let me go ahead and show you. I'll pop them up here on screen so you can see each one. My first and the one that I've been using the longest is General Finishes High Performance Top Coat. My preferred sheen in most top coats, if I have a choice, is satin. It's just what sells really well. It makes it very wipeable, but each of these come in a different sheen. So like I said, there are different sheens. Some come in all different sheens and some just come in one sheen. I find that satin is the most appealing to most of my clients, and it makes the furniture look really great without looking shiny or too matte. So it's a great sheen to choose. All right, let's talk about the next one, and that is Minwax. Now, Minwax stains, I'm not a huge fan of. However, their water-based polyacrylic has always been one of my go-tos. I really, really like working with this. It's available everywhere, and it's at a pretty good price point. Now, the other one, which is the third one that I use really frequently, it is newer on the market than the other two. It's been around about a little over a year. It's a newer company. It's the Lily Moon Paint Stellar Shield. That is also one of my go-tos, and I use it so often. All of these top coats that I am discussing with you today are equally easy to use, so you won't have a problem no matter your choice.
Let's talk next about the tools. So I don't want to overwhelm you by providing too many brush options, so I'm going to show you my favorites. These are the Zebra Top Coat brushes. You can buy these individually or as part of a trio. I bought the trio, which includes a 3-inch, a 2.5, and a 2-inch, which is styled very much like the Palm Pro paintbrush. These are excellent for top coating. They are a synthetic brush. They have really loose filaments, and so when you're working with them, they just put the most beautiful finish on your piece without shedding, for one, without having any brush strokes, for two, and three, they're very comfortable to work with. I will list these in the show notes below as well. Now, I'm showcasing the Topcoat Trio set, but you can buy them individually as well. I'll also go ahead and put my discount code here for you, which will give you 10% off, and every little bit does help, and I certainly appreciate your support. Like I said, you can buy them individually as well as a set. Now, the next item I want to talk about are these rad pads, and I will also put a more budget-friendly version of these in the show notes as well. Now, these are perfect for sanding in between coats. I would always choose a very fine or a super fine because you don't want to etch your freshly top-coated piece. All you're looking to do is knock down any texture, anything that floated into it. When you use water-based products, they tend to raise the grain. So sometimes you just might need to knock it down a little bit. Do you have to? No. If it's smooth, let it go and move on to your second coat. Now, the last item I want to talk about are these two applicators. These are essentially the same thing. One is just larger in diameter than the other. They're both going to provide the same exact function. These are great for top coating as well. I use these all the time for top coating, for blending my stains. You can even use these to paint with. I do have a video on my channel that showing me paint with one of these.
Okay, enough chit chat. Let's go ahead on over to the piece and get some top coat on. So for today's video, we're going to be using the Lily Moon Paint Stellar Shield. It is a water-based top coat, as I already mentioned, and we're going to be using the Zebra 2.5-inch brush along with my water mister bottle. You can, with water-based top coats, thin them if you need, and also use a water mister bottle on your surface and your brush. I do this a lot. It helps with the ease of application, and it helps to make sure that you get a nice, beautiful, smooth finish. So I always start with misting the brush first. We'll list this water mister bottle as well as another alternative that you can find on Amazon in the show notes. All right, let's go ahead and get some product on. Now, as you can see, when I load up my brush, I'm usually about 1/3 to halfway up the bristles, no more. You don't need to put a ton of product on your brush by dipping all the way down into the jar. Now, when you're applying, the key that you want to make sure you do is overlap. So I'm overlapping by about 25% on each pass. Now, you will see there I've got a little bit too much product. No big deal. I'm going to go ahead and thin that out with my brush. I'm not going to put on any more product now, and I'm going to concentrate on lightly dragging back in one direction, and we're going to get a lot of that product off of the piece. So when you're doing this, the key to remember is I'm barely hanging on to my brush. As you can see, I'm holding it there with like literally 2 or 3 little fingers. That's it. Not a lot of pressure. Now this might freak some of you out. Don't worry. We're going to get rid of all this excess product. I have a clean brush, so no top coat currently on there, and I'm going to go ahead and just wipe that in, blending it with my brush, nice and easy, in the direction of the wood grain. Now I'm going to go back up to the top and get rid of that excess by feathering it in. Easy peasy. That didn't look too hard, did it? It's really not. I'm not making it look any easier than it is. The toughest part is 2 things. One, you don't want to overwork it, okay? Once you put it on and you smooth it out, that's it. Walk away, leave it alone. Top coats tend to set typically very quick. It's not that they're dry, but they set quickly, and that's when you can start getting a lot of that brush stroke or streakiness going on. Anything you didn't pick up on that first coat, you can get it on the second coat. The other most challenging part is you saw my edge there was completely pulled up with top coat. All I did was just take my brush that had no more product on it and just work it in, and then I feathered in the edges of the top. That's the most difficult part. So take your time, go one pass, and walk away. Let it dry. If you need to sand it in between coats, you're going to take that extra or super fine sanding pad and do that. If you don't have to and you feel it and it feels super smooth, leave it alone. If nothing has flown into it, leave it alone. Go in with your second coat. It's a lot cooler today than normal, so I'm going to let this dry for a good 2 to 3 hours, and then I'll go back with my second coat. On a regular warm climate, sunny day, I would say you're good in about an hour to recoat most all of these top coats that I told you. So we are at about 2 hours. It is all dry and ready for our second coat. I didn't mention, but this Stellar Shield is more of an eggshell sheen. Gets a really beautiful finish to it, very wipeable. I want to get in really close to the edges here so that you can see I had no problems with any of the product pooling in there. So just like I said, what you want to do when you're working with edges, don't worry about it. Get your top situated and squared away first, and then go right to your edges after that, and everything will come together beautifully. Now mine does feel a little bit rough. I felt it and I feel like, it feels a little grainy. I'm gonna go ahead and take my sanding pad, knock it down. You wanna wipe it then with a microfiber cloth. That's all you need. Don't use a tack cloth. Those have oils in them. We don't want to press any oils so that our water-based top coat has any reactions whatsoever. So a microfiber cloth, if you have to wipe it down, that's what you want to use. So much for joining me today for this video. I hope it was helpful for you. And guess what? I've got a ton of videos on this channel that will help you through all different processes of furniture refinishing. Thank you for joining me, and I will catch you on the next video.